Well,
Hey, there you are. Perfect time as soon as the recording started. Why are goals so important, Savannah?
goals are important because they help us become the people we want to become. They change us.
Yeah, and why do you want to become that person when you think about it? Like what makes you want to do that?
Personally, for me, I want to do that for a better life, to become the best person I could be, the person that I was created to be.
There you
Um,
go. That's the
yeah.
power of it right there.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yep.
have desires because your spirit's telling you. Like that's who you are. That's what you can do. It's kind of tough, deciding whether or not this is my desire or whether it's something somebody has imparted on me because we have so much stuff put on us. Not in mean and malicious ways, but so many times people tell us to do things because they're trying to protect us. They don't want us to fail in life. They don't want us to, go down a path of hardship, which is really funny because no matter what you do in life, you're going to face hardship. It's part of our process here. So even if you choose the safe path, you know, you're going to run into hardships. We all know that. It doesn't matter. So you might as well be choosing your hardships in a direction that you want. So with that being said, let's go. Let's get this stuff underway. Let's talk about goals, why they're important, what type of goal to set for you, and then how to set it in a way so that it can't fail. A worthy ideal, that comes from the quote by Earl Nightingale. It's the best definition of success that I've ever heard. It's success is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. So every day that you get up and you're moving towards something that you really want, that you're in love with, you're in love with the idea, you are successful, and you know it because you're happy. You have the proof, you have the feeling that you move towards something that you really want, that your heart desires. Nothing feels better than that. And that's where the term a worthy ideal comes from. That's why Bob named his first module in Thinking into Results a worthy ideal. Came from his mentor, Earl Nightingale. A worthy ideal. What's the purpose of a goal? Well, are you running from what you don't want or toward what you do want? Legitimate question, because no matter what, while you're here on earth, you're always running. And I don't mean physically, I mean internally, mentally. We're always moving towards some kind of image. People think that they can get away from the hardships of a goal. They have so much paradigm, so much programming built around goal setting. Like, oh, if I set a goal, it's going to be really a lot of work. And I'm not into all that work stuff. I don't want to do that type of stuff. It's going to be a lot of sacrifice. I don't get to do the things that I want. And so they just don't do it. So they think that they don't set a goal, but they don't. We all have a goal. No matter what, if you're breathing, you have a goal. Whether you know it in your conscious mind or not, you have something that's moving you. You're either moving away from something you don't want, running away from something you don't want, or moving towards something that you do. And if you haven't consciously, if you haven't consciously chose to set a goal towards something that you want, you're unconsciously setting a goal to be running away from what you don't want. I don't like my job. I don't like this. I don't like that. And people are constantly trying to escape and move over here and move over there to get away from those things and just pass the time, just get past that thing. And they're hurrying their way and they're spending all the minutes of their life not knowing how many minutes that we actually have. Life wasn't meant to be spent that way. It was meant to be spent expressing your spirit, going after what you love. Life is a joyous, wonderful thing when we're open to it. And part of that process, one of the biggest parts of that process is setting a goal that you're in love with. So, what is the purpose of the goal? The goal is to grow in awareness. And I put $1,000,000 here because $1,000,000 sitting in the middle of a table, people surrounding it, it's the same thing. It's dollars. And then there's people surrounding it, but based on people's experience in life, the programming that they've received, they're all going to look at it differently. And for those who have achieved high levels of money and know how to get high levels of money, they look at the $1,000,000 different than somebody who's fearful about it or doesn't know about it or doesn't want it, or they feel negatively about it. The person who has learned to grow an awareness about how to attract that money will always be that person. So therefore, the thing in front of them doesn't even matter. They can go out and get the $1,000,000. They can go out and do that again and again in their life because they've grown in the awareness of how to do that. It doesn't matter if it's money, health, and fitness, or all those things, or how the person is achieving, that if they're achieving it through real estate or multi-level marketing or sales or something of that nature. It's all about learning to become the person who does the goal, you becoming the thing. Once you set your level of awareness there, you can never reset it. You're always going to know how to do that. And that's why when you give a person $1,000,000 who doesn't know how to get the $1,000,000, the $1,000,000 usually disappears very quickly because it's not part of them. It doesn't resonate with them. They push it away. Money's no different than anything else in this world. It operates on attraction. Either you're attracting it or you're repulsing it. And you have to become aware of what you're doing with it in order to change that vibration. So the goal is there to raise your level of awareness. It's not about getting. The getting is awesome. It's really fun. But really, the goal is about raising your awareness and becoming something. Goal is for you to become. What do you want to become? Is a big question that you can ask yourself as you go through this and you listen to me talk about it. And the thing about it is that once you set a goal that you're moving toward, that you're absolutely in love with, your life has purpose. You're full of energy again. You're not just trying to get through your day. You're trying to fight your way through your day anymore. You're really stoked about it when you wake up in the morning that you're pursuing this thing. You're knowing you're going to do your next task. You're curious to find out what's going to come from that. And life just takes on a whole new vigor. So if you know how to do your goal, then it's the wrong goal for you. Why? Because there's no inspiration in that. You're not wanting that so much. When you run into bumps along the way, if you're not in love with the thing, you're going to abandon it. That's the big deal with this. And now what's the other side of that? It's the energy that goes into it. People look at how much, when somebody's in love with something that they're working toward, they can work long hours, so to speak. It looks like they're working so much, and we focus on that so much. Oh my gosh, look at how much that person worked. Of course, they deserve it. But we don't understand that when you're going after something that you love, you're tapping into that love energy, and that's what's fueling you to move forward. So it doesn't feel like you're working. It feels like you're pursuing something that you're absolutely in love with. And I liken it to being like a child. When you wanted to do something when you were a kid, you would do it over and over and over again all the time. Watch kids with electronics. Kids are really, they're drawn to it, and they do it every chance they can. They steal away every free minute, even if it's 2 minutes before you're walking out the door. For our household, 2 minutes is all my boy needs. He'll go find the electronic thing and practice his video game more and more again. He doesn't even know that it's practice. He's just doing it. He loves it. That's the way it needs to be for our goal. And you're not going to do that until you find something that you absolutely love. There's no growth associated with a goal that you already know how to do. There's only growth associated with something that you're currently not aware of how to do. So don't choose the ones you know how to do. And those are A and B type goals. A type goals are something that you already know how to do. It's like a shopping list. B type goals are what you think you can do. You can move things in a certain place, or if you get certain people how to do it, but it's not causing you to bring more of yourself to the surface, to do things that you've never done before. A and B goals get taken care of on their own when you set the C goal. What's the C goal? That's the big goal. It comes from your wants. It comes from your fantasies. What do you really want? They're originated through the effective use of your imagination. So once you set that C goal, and I want to say this really quickly too, because we talk about setting a goal. Why do we call it set goal? Once you learn to set this goal, and this is the key for getting it, and this is how you make a goal happen, is you set it down in your heart. You feel what it's like to have that goal already. That's the power of it. When you do that, and the more you do that, the more frequently you do that, and the more you do it with strong feelings of love and joy and all those wonderful things, your A and B goals are things that you receive. Intuitively, they come to you. Do this, talk to this person, take this action, say this thing. You're guided along that path to do that. That's the idea here. So we don't mess around with A and B and small goals. We only go after the stuff that you really want in your heart. Napoleon Hill said, analysis of several hundred successful people disclosed the fact that every one of them had the habit of reaching decisions promptly and of changing these decisions slowly, if and when they were changed. Isn't that kind of far out? You know, we look at people that have achieved high levels of stuff and we think they must be masters at being able to, you know, look at all the different options and then understand the pros and cons of each option and then choosing the right one. It's not true. What I just talked about handles that for you. Setting your goal in your heart, you will be led by feeling to that. You're going to be led by feeling to that. And that's why they're able to make their decisions. Later, you look back and you go, gosh, that was the perfect decision to be made. But the person felt it because they know what their goal looks, feels, tastes, and smells like. Like they know it already. What is it like to have the thing? By doing that and then just taking those actions that they're led to, they know, yes, that's me. No, that's not me. That's the idea of setting that goal that can't fail. On the flip side of that, people who fail, without exception, they have the habit of reaching decisions, if at all, if even making a decision. We know plenty of people that are not decisive, but they reach them very slowly and of changing these decisions quickly and often. Absence of evidence is not evidence of absence. Take that in. Absence of evidence is not evidence of absence. Just because you're not seeing things manifest out in your world when you're feeling that goal does not mean that there's not a whole lot of things that are working in your favor to make that happen. It's only a matter of time before they really start popping up for you to witness them. So stick with it. So why do we reject the C goal? Because of our programming, and that programming did not come from us. That programming came from those around us. What is the programming? Well, you don't fantasize anymore. If you fantasize, if you want to join us as adults and fantasize, then we fantasize about all the bad things that could happen. We fantasize about how negative things are. We fantasize about stuff like that. We don't fantasize about these great things that we want to do anymore. Like, that's just for kids. And now you're grown up. You need to stop doing that. You need to get into the real world. That's programming that's handed to us. It's not real, it's not a fact, but it's something that's handed down from generation to generation. We need to learn to reject that. And we're also punished as kids. That's a big, strong part of that. You know, fantasizing, not paying attention. I'm guilty of this, trying to teach my son something, and then he's off in la la land thinking about something else, snapping him back into attention. Like, hey, pay attention. I don't want to repeat myself 10 times. We need to teach our kids that it's okay to do that. It's okay. It's wonderful. Keep using that wonderful imagination. But there are times, yeah, when you need to pay attention to this moment too. But it's not the end all be all. Like, you don't have to pay attention to this moment all the time. It's actually not going to serve you to do that, because you're just going to get into this endless cycle of repeating that moment again and again and again. We have to teach them and teach ourselves that it's okay. It's the right thing. It's more than okay. It's exactly what you should be doing with that wonderful imagination that you were given, to fantasize about what you want. Get into it so much that you can see it, hear, and feel it now. So remember that your answers will not show up from your thinking mind, your analytical mind. They're going to be received by your thinking mind. They're going to come from your heart and how you feel, and everything that, you know, some people call it God, whatever you want to call it, spirit, energy, all of it, it's going to be sending that to you based on the vibration that you're sending out, saying, I feel this already. It's real already. So what do we do here? Do you want to do this? This is how we set this goal. That's all that you have to answer. Do you really want it? And I don't mean not kinda, maybe I should want it, or I'm supposed to want it. My mom and dad would be happy for me if I got this. All that stuff, you got to kick that out. What do you really want? That's the most important question that you're going to answer. And it seems like a simple question, but we've got so much stuff in the way of it. We got to strip all that stuff away and ask yourself, if you could do anything, what would you do? You got to go there. And the second thing you need to understand is, am I able? Answer that question. Well, we only have two sources of reference to say what we're actually capable of. That's science and theology, or what we would call religion. And both of them arrive at the same conclusion. They don't know what we're capable of. We're infinite. There's anything is possible for us. So you need to learn and accept yourself as that. No limiting beliefs like, well, you know, I can't really do that. I'm not good at that. I've never done anything like that. Don't bother with that stuff. Only understand yourself as infinite and infinite being. That's it. So you are absolutely able. That question is designed to get you in tune with that. Know that about yourself. Whatever you can say, you can do. That's it. If you can say it, if you can see it, if you can feel it, you can do it because you're an infinite being. Second part, am I willing? Am I willing to do what it takes to get this? That's where the emotional involvement comes in. And that willingness just isn't about doing lots of tasks and working long hours. That's not what it's about. That's what deters people from setting the goal. The willingness is are you willing to go inside and look at what's actually holding you back? Stop shaming yourself. Stop making yourself feel bad about what you feel about, stuff, and just get it out there and look at it and say, is that what I want? Is that serving me? Okay, how do I change that belief? Because it's this belief over here that's going to get me there. I'm great at the thing that I want to do, That's where the emotional involvement comes in, and you have to be willing to do the work, and you have to be willing to do whatever it takes to do that. And that's going to come from standing up. It's going to come in the form of standing up for yourself, because most people are not going to understand what you're doing. Your goal exists inside of you first. Nobody can see it. You're the only one that can feel it. So many people in your inner circle are going to be like, what are you doing? You're acting strange. You have to be willing to go through that. You have to be willing for some people to fall away from you. That just makes space for those people that are coming into your life who will support you on your path. It's a natural process. And yeah, it's a little bit weird and it can be painful at times, but you have to be able to answer that question. You're willing to do that in order to get your goal. And then the third thing to do is just decide to do it. Cut off from your old way of life and say, I'm not ever going to do that anymore. I'm only going to live this way. And you just take your action in that direction from this point forward. Never go back. If you leave yourself that out, that, oh, I can go back, then you're going to cut off your means for success, your ability to succeed in that goal. You have to cut off from it. You can't take two paths at once. It says in the Bible, the double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. And that is such a good saying to understand that. If you're still living as the old you and you're wanting to be the new you, you're always going to be stuck as the old you. You have to learn to let that stuff go. Decide, cut off from that, and move down your path no matter what. And yeah, you don't know how to do it. That's okay. It's going to be given to you. That's faith. You believe that this is going to happen for you if you just keep taking action toward it. Keep looking inside of yourself. So how do you choose your goal? Well, relax and permit your mind to fantasize about what you really want. Answer these questions. If you could not fail, what would you do? If every resource was at your disposal, what would you do? What kind of life do you really want to live? From the moment you wake up in the morning, like, what would be the greatest thing in the world for you to be doing? Contributing to the world, giving your special gifts to the world. How would you like to be doing that? How would you like to be sharing that? Look at it in the form of relationships, money, business. Answer all those. How do you want those things to go in your life? Allow your mind to release, and then just make a list. Once those things start flowing, once you get into that flow, things come out. Just let them all come out. And after you do that, choose one. Which item calls to you the most? And which item would you be most saddened to know that You left this world without accomplishing. That's a big one. If today was your last day on earth, that's it. It's time for you to leave this physical body. What thing do you look back on your life and go, man, that was the one? Like, I really wish that I'd have done that. Or, at least I would have spent my life pursuing it. Like, it says I would be sad to leave here right now and know that I didn't give my all to go get that. That really helps you answer that question. Don't let people or circumstances choose for you. What if I told you about your cell phone 20 years ago? You'd think I was off my rocker. People thought that the Wright brothers were off their rocker, but they changed our world. And the people that invented cell phones, they changed our world. People that dream big change our world. You don't need to know how the thing is going to happen. Nothing is created or destroyed. Everything you need to do what it is that you want to do is here right now. You only lack the awareness. And the big kind of funny part of it is that the things that you need are actually all right around you. But because you're not aware, you can't see them. When people say, where's it going to come from? Wherever it is right now. The things to put the cell phones together have always been here. We just lack the awareness of knowing how to put those things together in the way so that we could pick up a little thing and then just call anybody in the world or send a picture or an email or video or whatever. The ability to do that has always been here, and the ability to do what it is that you want to do is here now. You just have to create the awareness, and everything that you need is going to come from wherever it is right now. We've got some programming that gets in the way too. I was just talking with somebody about this earlier today. When you watch a baby, babies are so wonderful. You watch them learn. Oh man, they don't have the programming that if they fail, that they're further away from success. That's the top line that you see right there. That programming gets handed in later. I'm afraid to take a chance on something because if I fail, now I'm so much further from success. We have to let that go and realize that programming is holding us back, and it's not even real. Because the things that you learned, you're never going to learn as much as you did from years 0 to 5. Because you didn't have any of this programming in here. Because from 0 to 5, you had no knowledge, no programming about failure. You just got up and you did the thing that you wanted to do. You saw somebody doing it. You felt what you felt in your heart that you wanted to do it too. And then you moved toward it and you just took the action again and again and again. You didn't even have any concept of whether or not, you could fail. You had no concept of whether or not, somebody thought highly of you or, poorly of you. Although at that time, everybody just loves the baby, and the baby's getting so much positive support from everybody. So you in the middle of failure and success is something that you just absolutely have to let go of, because you are going to fail. And that does not mean you're further away from success. You have to go down to the second line of programming right there, is that you are going to fail your way to success. You're going to make attempts, you're going to take action, and you're going to get feedback from that action. Based on that feedback, you're going to course correct, just like you did as a baby. You couldn't put your foot down and, walk right, and you would fall, and then you would put your foot down wrong again and you would fall, but you would continually get better and better and better at it. And you failed your way all the way to success. And now walking is something that you don't even think about doing now. You just automatically do it. And that's the idea of your goal. You grew in the awareness of a person that walks. Now you automatically do it when you need to go somewhere in your house or out in the world. You don't even think about the thing that you're doing. And this is what we want to create with you on the way to this goal, that it becomes something that's automatic for you, something that you just know and feel about yourself. You're the person who does this, and it's easy for you. So write your goal statement and carry it with you. We like to begin those statements with, I'm so happy and grateful now that, because your heart, or what we call your subconscious, has no concept of tomorrow or yesterday. It only knows now. So we speak of our goal in terms of now. I'm so happy and grateful now that I've achieved my goal. And your goal is just written out there. So happy and grateful now that I'm the greatest dance instructor that the world's ever known. You know, whatever that is, because that statement is there to make you feel a certain way. Feeling is just vibration that you're putting out in the world. And that's the most important thing, is that you're going to feel that again and again and again. I'm so happy and grateful now that I'm the greatest athletic clothing designer that anybody's ever seen. Whatever your statement is, you write it your way and feel that. And it's so much power, because that vibration gets put into that card, that statement that you carry. You know it. When you reach into your pocket and you don't even pull it out, you know it. You know what's written on that card. You've read it so many times and you feel it, and it just changes. Am I feeling that way right now? You know, if the answer is no, it can change it just by touching that card. And as often as you can change that, just like the attempts to walk over and over again, you're changing that programming, that feeling inside of you, that vibration that you're sending out habitually, that's attracting those things to you. And that's what you want to do, until you just don't even have to think about it anymore. You don't have to think about it anymore. Then you're in a constant state of attracting it to you all the time. That's the power flow. At least read it twice a day out loud. Feel the joy of your goal accomplished, and think about the things that happen for you now that you've achieved this goal. Think about being that person now. What does it feel like? Success is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. Earl Nightingale. Best definition I have ever heard. Another great quote is, God's gift to us is more talent and ability than we'll ever hope to use in our lifetime. Our gift to God is to develop as much of that talent and ability as we can in this lifetime. And it's not a means that we have to grind our way through it. We should be joyous in that process. Keep letting your spirit out. It's wonderful. It was given to you, and it's here to be expressed, and it's fun to express it. So look at it that way. Continue to develop and let that spirit out. Forget about what other people tell you. You just go do you. No more effort is required to aim high in life, to demand abundance and prosperity, than is required to accept misery and poverty. That quote really blew my mind when I first heard it. It's like, how could that be? Look at these homeless people just laying around, you know, they're not doing anything. But being in a state of low energy, you know, I'm angry, resentful, life is not fair, I'm sad. Those are all low energies. And that takes so much effort to get the smallest things done in life when you feel that way. But when you're in a state of love, something that you're absolutely in love with, you're tapping into that energy, and it doesn't take a lot of effort to do things. Things happen easily. You're full of energy. So now all of a sudden that stuff makes sense. That quote makes sense from Napoleon Hill. That's the key, is to tap into the thing that you're in love with. The effort is going to be the same throughout your life. Either you're going to get the things that you want or you're not. But the effort is all the same. Nobody's expending more effort than anybody else. People spend their whole life running from, avoiding, and trying to escape from a life they built, not knowing they could have been building a life they wanted and running toward that instead. Isn't that sad? Isn't that a tragedy? Because this information is not shared, I was having an imagination of what would life be like if this information was shared from the moment you started recognizing what words were, when you were just tiny. What would you really be capable of? How would you be living your life? I think it's a tragedy that this stuff is not shared that way. We don't know who we are, so we live these lives of quiet desperation. You know, we're constantly in a state of fear, and we're constantly in a state of doubt and worry. And you see it with the pandemic and things that are going on. People are attracted to that so much because they're already programmed to receive fear. And we don't have to be that way. We need to learn that you are an infinite being and you are capable of doing anything, and build that beautiful life, and just take off every day and run as fast and as hard toward it as you can. When you get tired, because that's what your body does naturally, then collapse down and go to bed and get up tomorrow and do it again. Let the rest of the stuff just fall where it may be. Next week, we're going to talk about the actions that we take, because it really isn't a matter of falling in love. You love the idea. Yes, you love the idea of getting the goal, but what's going to actually move you toward it is falling in love with taking an action and actually releasing from the results. Just saying, like, it doesn't bother me, if I get a particular result or not a particular result. The key is to take the action and keep getting the reaction from the world, because that's where you can course correct and get better and better and better. You never would have learned to walk if you didn't continue to take the action of trying to walk again and again and again. You've got to learn to fall in love with that idea. With health and fitness, this is a big deal. That's why it's so important that we find something that we do out there in the health and fitness world, or to be healthy and fit, that we love. When we do something that we love, then we're just in love with taking that action again and again and again. The results that you want are just a matter of time at that point. That's it. So we fall in love with taking the action. We're going to talk about that next week and get into it in a deeper way. And we're going to figure out how to find the actions that aren't serving us, that we're plugging in instead. Because you can't continue to do all those other actions that aren't serving you and then add these other actions too. You can't fill a cup that's already full. We're going to have to shed off some stuff, get rid of some old programming, and put the other stuff in place that's going to get us what we want. And that's what we're going to be discussing. And that's a worthy ideal. How to set the goal, why goals are so important, how to set the right goal for you, and how to set it in a way so that it cannot fail is the key to a happy life.